What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Plan Me One podcast. I am Willie Rodriguez. We got Eddie Gonzalez behind the mic. All right, doing our thing. Today, guys, I really want to bring something different to the table, and I want to talk about the marketplace, right? And I want to just talk about all the things that we all see just going on across the world and how those things implement into our industry. And there's people talking about slowdowns, this, that. We have inflation. We have higher interest rates. We have all these different things, right, that it can really just drive you crazy. Right? And what I'm going to be talking about is the nursery industry for South Florida. I know it pertains to a lot of other nurseries all over the nation, but I want to talk about this because this is the industry that I know about, right? This is the industry that I'm involved in every single day, and I have my heart into this, blood, sweat, and tears. For the past 2 years, it's been a seller's market, meaning that if you grew it, it was going to fly, right? People saw yields 3-4 times more than they did previous years. A 3-gallon plant normally takes 3 to 4 months to get up to par. How she's supposed to be like 4 months, some 5, depending on what it is. Some might be even longer. But normally you would see 2 flips a year, maybe 3 flips a year, maybe 4, depending on what it is, right? And in the boom, we would see 6 flips. 8 flips, like crazy. So the money was running around like wildfire. Like it was literally insane. And now we're coming back down to some type of normalcy, right? It's not so much that the economy is tanking. It is that we're coming down to a normalcy because all that stuff kind of already got purchased up. People already did their landscapings. People already did all these things. And once you do a landscaping someplace, the only really thing you can do are touch-ups and maintenance. And then for us in the plant world, we're relying on these people to get new jobs. So it has gone from a seller's market, and now we're transitioning into a buyer's market. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And I say this because I drive around and I see what's going on. I see some nurseries that are stocked up with product and they haven't been sold. I see complete blocks, which is a block of area of space of what they grew, hasn't been touched. I see things starting to get overgrown, which is something we haven't seen in a long time. Like the other day, I saw some Nora Grants 7-gallon that were 3x3 that if you follow on A's Ornamental Nursery on Instagram, it's in the highlights section now because it's not on the stories anymore. It was 3,000 of them. Beautiful. And you're like, how can that happen? Doesn't that guy have customers for that? Hasn't he been in the industry for X amount of time? Don't people know he has it? What's going on? There's a shift happening. We just got to understand what's going on to better prepare to execute. Then you go to the people that sell the pots and the chemicals and the liner trays and all that stuff, one of those supply stores. And now you see, before they didn't have inventory, now they're stocked up with inventory. So that indicates that there's less demand for those items, and that's how they're able to stock up. Because before they didn't have nothing, and when stuff would come in, it would go straight from the semi. They brought it down from wherever they created it, and it would go right on their 24-foot flatbed to go deliver, the one with the forklift in the back. Right. So now we're seeing that they have product. We saw that what happened in spring this year, 2022, the expectations of what everybody thought was going to get sold didn't get sold. And I heard some numbers as high as 30% didn't make it to, let's say, their end places like the chain stores or Canada and stuff like that, those different markets. So that's something to also think about as well, right? You have people that made a lot of money, and now are you going to go set up another 10 acres? Are you going to do that? You know, I see some people doing that. It's mostly the big boys. And I've also seen people with their money, they go and buy 20 acres. They divide it into 5-acre lots, 4 lots, and they rent it out. And that's what they're doing as well. There's many different ways and many opportunities right now that's going on right now in the marketplace. I had a guy, just tell you a story. I had a guy come here the other day that I was telling Eddie about this earlier. He came here the other day. He grows beautiful interior product. He does Thai plants like the Red Sisters, the Black Magics, all that stuff, and the funky ones. And then he also does, what was the other plant that he does? Dracaenas, right? He's a small guy, 2 acres. He's done maybe 3 crops, 4 crops. And he came here with samples, which is a smart thing to do, right? If you guys are looking for sales, you go up to take your samples to the bigger boys that can move your product, and they can hopefully purchase your product and flip it. So he was telling me that he had all this stuff and he couldn't sell it and he needed help selling it. And I asked him what the prices were. And he told me, anything that you can give me, Willie. That's what he told me. That's wild to me, right? So now let's analyze that whole situation. So now you have a guy that grows beautiful product. He's figured that out. right? He rented the lot. He has the land. He has everything set up. He has his shade house. He has all that already established, and he grows beautiful products. So now he shows up here, and he's looking for sales. A person like that, and what I talk about on Ace Ornamental sometimes, I talk about listening to your business. And one of the things that I'm referring to is this individual is lacking one thing. He's lacking the sales. What he told me was that he is no longer going to grow this product anymore, even though that's what he's been growing for the past year and a half. And now he's going to transition into selling Croton Petras, Croton Mammies. That's not a bad thing, but that's what he sees other people doing, which is something that we can all get easily influenced from something, right? Just like on social media, you see somebody do some type of reel and you're like, oh, I'm going to do that same thing. And then we get that copycat thing going. So now he's going to transition. Do you guys think it's smarter for him to try to just listen to his business and try to get more sales for the inventory and the stuff that he's normally growing that his customers already know he has? Or to eliminate that and start doing something completely different, which is what everybody sells. A lot of people grow Crotons, Mammies, and Petras. Those are the two most popular Crotons that exist, right? Those are the ones that get sold the most. There's people out here that do 500,000 of them for spring. One person. What do you think makes more sense? For me, I think it makes more sense to just listen to what you need and go out and search more of those sales. That's what I would do. I wouldn't technically change everything up because that's really, let's say, the easier route on a piece of paper, but it's the harder route long term. Because now all your clients that know you, that have purchased from you, or that you went out and passed your business card to, or that you had a conversation with, they're going to call you and you're not going to have the product anymore. And they already know somebody that grows Petras and Mammies. So maybe they need them, maybe they don't. And then you got to go and try to sell a whole new line of product that you've never done before. Have you grown it? Do you know how to grow it? Do you know what to do to make it look beautiful and fire so your clients eat it all up? Because it's like growing a whole other business, right? When you add new inventory to your nursery. I talked to the individual. We did end up buying some product from him, but and he still has it, so I'm gonna keep selling it as I get the calls for it to help him out. But it goes back to that, listen to your business. If you ordered X amount of liners for this one item, and now you see that sales drop from that, just pick up the phone and tell them, hey, I can't take them all. I'm sure they have a list of people that want them, right. And it's not so much you backing out and looking bad, because that's one way of looking at it, but it's really being realistic. The last thing you want is you overbooked $10,000 more of liners than what you need or what you think you might sell. And then now you're stuck giving 10 G's that you need for cash flow for your business to operate. Right. And then who knows if you're going to sell it, who knows if not. I saw the big boys out here throwing product away. Literally throwing it away, or fire selling it, where they put it on pallets and they have an auction and they start it at $10 a pallet. So whatever's on there, it could be $300 or $500 wholesale, right? Not retail value, but wholesale value. And you can pick it up for $15. Is that what you want to do? I don't want to do that. So, but then you have that idea, and then you have people that this is the other way of looking at things. The market is going to weed out the people that aren't established, strong, right? That have, let's say paid off assets, that didn't spend money on things for pleasure. They've really been duking it out and waiting, right? Those people that have been really persistent on saving money, getting rid of debt, and they're really establishing like a powerhouse. Then you have these guys that when you're like that, one, your mind is a lot clearer, and now you have way more means to create opportunities for yourself. So I was talking with someone else the other day, and they were telling me, this is how it's going to go. A lot of people are going to crash, and they're going to be out of business, and a lot of people are going to grow. And I believe that. I believe that. We're going to see who was prepared and who wasn't, right? And not meaning in a bad way. And if you're not prepared, you can still get prepared. Like the window isn't closed completely. At this point, right? There's still plenty of opportunity to fix whatever you got going on. It just has to do with your self-persona, right? Like actually understanding it, like if you're overweight and you're like me, I was overweight. All right, that's it. I'm overweight. I'm going to get high blood pressure. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. I'm going to lose weight, and that's it. And I understood it, and I did it. And now I'm not there anymore. I'm free and clear from all those things. Same concept.
Have you ever seen that little post that goes around social media that there's two people digging a hole They're looking for diamonds, and they're literally at the same level. And the guy found a diamond, and the guy next to him noticed that he found a diamond, and he looked over it and he quit because he felt like his hole didn't have any diamonds. All he had to do was go a little bit deeper, and his diamond that was bigger
right there.
But yeah, that's what happens. People see that other people are making it in certain areas, and they feel like they're not getting anywhere because they're in the wrong place. And yet all they have to do is continue being consistent, and you'll get to your goal.
No, and also looking at what is going on from the outside. Put yourself from the outside, right? Pretend it's a bubble and you're floating on top of the bubble, and really try to analyze what is wrong, right? In your business. So let's say like that individual, he's lacking sales, right? He knows this, but he's not taking the initiative to really dive deep into it. He rather just clear out what he has, pick up some money, and then go and start a whole new crop because that's what he sees other people selling, right? Which is the easier route. It's easier right now if you think of it short term. But long term, it's a lot harder because, like I said, it's a whole other crop you got to sell that no one knows you for. Right, which consistency is key.
And it's not a bad thing for him right at the moment because he is fairly new.
Yeah.
So he's a new business, so I guess he's just trying to get out of it while he can instead of digging a bigger hole.
Yeah, but if whatever you guys are doing, right, you want to stay consistent. Of course. Don't try to back out and go do something that you have no clue what you're doing, because the way to become a millionaire and the way to really climb the ladder is sticking to one thing. All right, one industry, not one thing, but one industry. Right, and one specific area. And then you can add things to the area, like we've talked about before, which are streams. And you can add things that just keep, they keep growing what you're doing in that one industry. And how do you see? You see these guys that they're like, man, these guys do 100 million a year in sales. How did they do that? Well, they didn't start and quit. They started and kept on and kept on and kept on. And that has a lot to do with it. Another thing I wanted to talk about, your relationships, right? And complacency with the relationships you have in the industry that you're in. So your customers, you build relationships with them. Those relationships need to be strong. You need to go and talk to your customers, ask them how they're doing, how things are, right? Because when you, and this is something that I tend to get, and this is just me, I don't know if it's for everybody, but I actually become friends with a lot of customers. And it ends up getting to the point where we're more friends than clients and vendors and customers and all that stuff. Like that gets just wiped out of the thing. Hey, when I present them, hey, this is my buddy so-and-so versus, hey, this is my customer. It's a whole nother world. And you can have these really, really, really good combos with these guys that are in the industry that are making money just like you. That's why I tend to have so many friends in the industry, right? Because we're not just... we don't just have similar interests when it comes to business, but we're also making money together. They're out there doing certain things. Hey, man, I got this contract. You think you could back me up? Yes, yes, yes. Hey, I got this. Hey, I'm going to, and now it creates some type of certainty too for you. Because if you don't have that structure, you don't have that relationship, those friends, right? It's very easy for your mind to just veer off and get lost, right? And want to close down or want to do this and want to do that. So having that circle of boys, or girls, right, that really keeps you hype, right? And it lets you know that others are working towards this and this is coming, this is what's about to happen, boom, 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 boom. You have those things to at least look forward to, and what you're doing today makes a huge difference on it. And then on the complacent side of things, and this is something else, complacency with your clients, right? You can be selling $2 million a year and you're on top of the world and everything's smooth and you've set everything up in your business where it operates the way it should and you don't have to be there every single second of the day and all that great stuff. But where the complacency comes into place is that, right? You become complacent, you stop reaching out to people. You stop saying hello. You stop going to the gas station and passing out a business card or whatever it might be that you feel that you're at some type of caliber, some type of bracket where you don't have to do those type of things. You got to remember something. You never know. Let's say your number one customer that your gross sales are 50% because of that number one client, which I do not recommend. You have one customer. Unless it's something big with contracts and you're selling to Lowe's or you're selling to Home Depot, something like that, which even that could be iffy, right? You got to remember things fall through the cracks. The guy that you have a relationship with today at that one business might not be there next year. You know, he might quit, or he might get fired, or he might level up and jump up to another position. And now the guy that they bring in, right, has his own people, right? He wants nothing to do with you. He doesn't like your accent. He doesn't like what you look like, whatever it may be. And that can cut you off. And now you just lost 50% of your gross sales. So now that $2 million, now you're back down to one. You know, if you were doing 2, now you're down to 1, and that can hit you really hard. So that's why you can't be complacent. You always have to be looking for new customers, and you always got to go above and beyond for your customers. Make sure you let them know everything you offer. And then with that, I want to talk about executing new ideas. There's never been a more, right time to really show the world what you can do. If you're a landscaper and you're like, man, those living walls are so beautiful, but they're so intimidating. Things that people go through. It's intimidating. The plant's going to stay alive. How am I going to charge this guy $10,000? And then the plants die, and then I got to insure it and this and that. Just go. Go do a living wall in your backyard. Practice.
Do your research.
Do your research. How many hours have you watched or listened to or read about doing them? It's not hard. You don't have to go to university and graduate with a bachelor's in living walls. We have YouTube, guys. We have all these different platforms where you can jump on and you can learn about all this. And you can get opinions from 50 different people that put out these videos. And now you have something that you can build for yourself. You can go out, oh man, but I've never done a living wall. How am I going to advertise it? It's simple. Go do one. Go do one at your house. Go do one at your aunt's house. Right. Go do it at your office and look at it. Maintain it. Do it for 6 months. See what it looks like, right? Film the process and then let the world know you offer them. Mm-hmm. All these little things that I know a lot of you guys, I know this. A lot of you guys have excellent, awesome ideas, but you're intimidated to do so. There's never been a better time to put on your pants and get it done.
Yeah, but knowledge is confidence.
Knowledge is confidence.
Because the more you know about it, the more research you do about it, the more videos you watch on it, the more understanding you have of where plants you can place with what plants, and how much water they need,
and design.
The design. The more you know, the more confident you're going to be. So if you are planning on doing like a living wall, just do as much research as you can on it, and then start practicing at your aunt's house, at your sister's house, at your cousin's house, and keep going at it, and stay consistent.
Yeah, and look at the different products too, because there's a bunch of different baskets, right? We're just going to dive into this. Yeah. You there's a bunch of different, let's say, wall baskets or whatever the term is for it, that you can put on the wall, right? So go look at them, see who sells what. See if you can go touch them. See if you can feel them. See if they have a salesperson there, they can explain to you why their product is better than everyone else's. And then you determine what works best for you, right. And the more options you have, the better it is for you to sell it to a client. Yep. It gives you that confidence because you know that this product is like this because you went and you saw it with your own eyes, and it's going to, based off of just looking at the product, feeling the product, the thickness of it, how it works, this and that, you have that confidence to back you up when you go to execute these new things. Also, think about this. I've had multiple clients reach out to me and say, Willie, someone offered me $5 million for my business. Right? Hey, Willie, someone offered me $7 million. Hey, Willie, someone offered me 2.5.
The offer of liquidation.
Yeah, an offer to buy the business, right? Landscaper, keys, Florida keys, 5.2 mil. And that's another thing. You have that solid client that you're like, man, I can rely on him for $500,000 a year, if that's how you look at it. And they sell the business, and now whoever buys it is going to buy from wherever they buy it. It's not going to be you. They're not going to keep the same employees. They're not going to keep the same contacts. They're not going to keep all that. Normally, when someone comes and buys a business, they might keep it the same for a little bit or might keep certain sectors of it the same. But for the most part, a lot of things are going to get changed.
They usually try to keep one of the main managers or somebody that.
Yeah, but regardless, you might be kicked out.
Yeah.
In 1 second. In 1 second, you get kicked out, right? So your boy's doing great because he just sold the company. He picked up $5 million. He's gonna pay $1 million in taxes, whatever he's gotta pay, and he's gonna be golden on top of the world. You're gonna see him on IG on a yacht, right? But for you, you're slim pickings watching him on a yacht and no one's calling you. Right. That's why you cannot be complacent, and you always have to strive for more. Remember, you have a whole team that is relying on you as the business owner to pull it off. to pull it off, to give them the raise, to get them the check on Friday, so they can continue living their life and putting food on their plate for their family. You cannot ever be complacent. You can never think you're untouchable or unstoppable. You really have to always be level-headed and humbled, because anything can happen in a second. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. That's another reason why your relationships with your customers should be tighter. Because if they are going to do anything like that, 9 times out of 10, they're going to call you and tell you that. Yeah. Maybe not the first day, maybe not the second day, maybe a week that they've been thinking about it, but it will come to you before. And that's good, because that just goes to show and assures you that that's what it is, and that's how fast everything can get swept under the mat.
The relationship. Is extremely important, because they could have just disappeared. But having a relationship with people
is what makes it really strong.
It does. It's you could work things out.
You could work things out.
You could talk about things. See how it could be beneficial for the both of you. Yeah.
So to give you an example, I'll just talk about this conversation. I'm not going to say any names, but I'll talk about the conversation real quick. So I have a customer, great customer, buys a lot. I'm not going to say any numbers. I'm not there yet, guys. We'll get there one day. He buys a lot, all right? 6-figure plus. Okay, so he tells me, hey, someone wants to buy my business for X amount. And I told him, okay, no problem. I said, what is in it for you? He's like, I got to stay here. They're going to give me $150,000 salary a year, and I got to stay here for 3 years. But they're going to, pay me out this and that. And I said, is the land included? He's like, yeah, the land's included. I said, okay. And what they were going to give him was $6 million. The land is worth 2.5. So I told him, hey, I think you're getting a little shafted, right? I think you're getting the shorter end of the stick, just because your land is worth X amount. And now what you are used to making, this is an individual that makes around $800,000 a year. I said, you're going to lose that. And then by the time you pay taxes, because it's very hard to defer that, okay? There's 1031 exchanges when you do sell real estate, but I'm not 100% sure that you can just add more money to the pile and put in a 1031 exchange. So you're going to be paying more in taxes, right? You're going to pay a huge chunk in tax. So out of that $6 million, you can only hide 2.5, let's say, for the real estate. And out of the rest, you're going to get taxed super duper hard. You're going to be left with like $2 million. I said, what are you going to create with $2 million that can give you $800,000 a year with everything paid for? What can you do?
Right.
And then he was like, yeah, you're right. What can I do? I said, dude, in 3 years, you're going to basically make what you're going to have done. And you can make this for the rest of your life.
Right.
What you're missing is staff.
Right.
Get 2 or 3 more people in the office. Get a good manager outside. Get this, get that, get that. Yeah. And now this place will continue running forever and ever with you just overseeing it.
Of course.
And you'll be able to not just collect 800, you can click it up to 2. I mean, to 1, and to 1.5 as time goes on.
Of course. And continue growing.
Yeah. And then with those profits, you can keep on multiplying it, investing it. You 100%. Can keep on deferring this and deferring that. And now you can become a multi-millionaire. You can retire at 50 years old if you wanted to, sitting on $30 million. Yeah. Right? This is the conversation we had.
When he got offered to liquidate when he is solid. He has an established business. Established business that's going to continue making even more money over a few years.
And every scenario is different, because I've talked to people that want to sell, that they go to sell their business, and it's for valid reasons. Competition's coming in, wiping everything away, so they have fear of their contracts and stuff like that. So it makes sense for someone like that to wipe it and go start something else in that scenario, because they feel that, and they know that the competition is going to come eat them, because there's some massive companies out there that's what they're doing. They're buying smaller companies, and they're overpowering the market, right? It's a smart move for them. Right. So all these things are real. All these things go on, and you just have to pay attention and listen to your business and put in the effort. I know we all got it in us. Think about all the moves that we've had to make for the past 2 years, or from day one, really, to get us all to where we are. It's a lot. So it's just continuing to do it and being fearful and knowing that if you've prepared for things like this, you're going to be gold. You're going to be golden. And the opportunities are going to be immense, right? We're going to see people that climb the ladder and they 10x their net worth in these next 3 years. It's gonna be tough if there's any type of real hardcore recession.
Right.
But if you have a good stable friends that are around that are ride or dies, and they're truthful to you and you to them, and you come through and you don't change anything and you only make everything better, I think we all have a great opportunity in front of us. Guys, if you have any questions or comments about anything I said, if you dislike anything I said or you don't agree with it, blow up the comment section down below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or any of these other platforms for the podcast, jump on IG and let us know if you like the content or if anything was relevant to what you guys are facing, or if there's any questions, please feel free and reach out to us on Instagram. It is the Plant Movement Podcast on Instagram. All right. And as always, if you guys are looking for product and you're in the state of Florida, we can personally deliver it to you through Ace Ornamental. We have buyers, we got plants, we got whatever you need. You guys already know. And stay tuned. Also, the tree hugger guys, just so you know, the tree hugger is supposed to be getting us some pallets of these beautiful tree huggers. So once they're out, we're going to be reaching out to a few of you guys to try out the product, see what you guys think about it. We're going to record it, we're going to film it, and we're going to try to bring that to the table for everybody to try. All right?
Yes,
So
sir.
God bless you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay positive. All right? And we'll see us on the next one. Bye-bye. Take care.